Boro lose their 7th game in 8 in all competitions, their 5th game in a row in the Championship, and in what was surely a must-win game to save Michael Carricks' job, he and the team once again failed miserably. What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Project Boro reviewing show, where today, well, not for the first time recently, we are talking about, you won't believe it, another Boro defeat. Another Boro defeat. Another one where we were in the game, we were winning in this one. We actually led at one point in this game, but still found a way to utterly throw it away in the second half in a continuation of a torrid run of form, of performances from Michael Carricks' team. A team who, quite honestly, continue to just look incredibly devoid of confidence, lacking in any resilience, mentality or character. They're spineless and have once again collapsed under the smallest piece of pressure. And if this was Michael Carricks' Middlesbrough following, you'd like to think, a boot up the backside in the last week after being backed by the chairman. This was do or die. This was sink or swim. This was where you stand up, chest out, and prove to everybody why you have a right to play for this football club, why you have the right to manage this football club. This is where you stand up and remind everybody why you are the right man to turn this around. And yet it was exactly the same, if not even worse, than what we've already seen in recent weeks. Once again, Boro find themselves in a good position, mostly by luck than anything, in a position I wouldn't say we deserved to be in, and then completely fell apart in a second half where, as it has been for the 4th or 5th game in a row now, if it wasn't for Mark Travers, the opposition could have had 4 or 5, maybe even more. And I'm sorry, it's left me in a position where I stand by what I said before this game, after the Watford game. I thought he was done at the weekend. The 2 games coming into this were absolute must-wins. Not only have we lost, but the performance was way off it once again. You know, the one thing that could have saved him is if we put in a good shift, a good performance. We were beaten by a moment of quality, or we were very unfortunate. Even if we came away from a point, I didn't think it would be enough. But again, if the performance was promising, you could maybe see slight progress, but this was no progress whatsoever. It was either more of the same, a continuation of this torrid run that Boro are on that seemingly is enabling our season to just fall away right in front of us. The playoffs are slipping away week by week, and there's no signs of improvement. Still, no signs that this team have the character or the mentality to turn things around, and no sign that this manager has any idea how to fix it or galvanise this side whatsoever. Another, as I say, spineless, shocking performance, really. No excuses for him, no excuses for Michael Carrick, and it doesn't matter now what happens on Tuesday. Game in hand, it's not going to get us that close to the playoffs now. We've fallen that far away, and we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So for me, yeah, he's been backed. As I say, when that news come out on Monday, Gibson's gave Carrick a chance, and he's put him in a position where, you know, he's being backed. He's being backed. He's being given faith by the owner. Carrick can't say he's not being given every opportunity. But for me, you either make a change now to save this season, give it a chance, or you press the end to sim button now, and we just jump straight to May, and we finish the season now, because what we're seeing now is shocking. And not only is there no sign of it changing, but it's only continuing and arguably getting worse. So here we are again. Let's get into it then. Same old, same old. Boro did make changes in this game. Changes pre-match that looked promising, to be honest with you. We set up in a flat 4-4-2, which we actually did this week. Last week, FootMob said it was a 4-4-2, to which it wasn't, but it actually was, both in and out of possession, really. We seemed to really simplify our game here. We went with Travers in goal. It was the return of Fry and Rav in the centre of defence, which was great to see. Dyke still came in for Ayling, so Ayling and Edmondson, 2 players who have been a huge weakness in our defence, were dropped, which was a positive. Borges also come in for Giles, who was ill. And then the midfield was as you'd expect it to be at this moment in time. Whittaker on the right, Hackney Morris in the middle, Bergzorg on the left with Iheanacho and Conway up top. In possession, I guess it was more a bit of still a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-4-1-1. Iheanacho would still drop deeper and Tommy Conway would be more of the number 9. But then out of possession, we were a complete flat 4-4-2. And to be honest with you, I honestly thought it was a promising lineup. I didn't think there was much better we could have fielded. Ayling and Edmondson out. I think that was the right decision to make. Borges in for Giles, who was ill. Fair enough. Not much else we could have done, really. Azaz, out of form. Force hasn't really played much, so nothing really changed. I wasn't sure if Iheanacho would start, but he did. I don't know if there's a clause in his loan that means we have to keep playing him to the level we are, because he's not shown much at all so far that he's worthy of starting in this team, but Carricks stuck with him once again. And then the game kicked off, and to be honest with you, the first half an hour was relatively even. I would say Bristol City started to really take a stranglehold on the game towards the end of the first half. I wouldn't say either side were utterly dominant, but Bristol City definitely looked the better of the two sides. They were by far the best side in the first half, and they just kept getting Boro down the sides. As we've saw many times this season, fullbacks were getting targeted over and over again. I mentioned in my preview, Bristol City playing with that 3-4-3, wing-backs bombing forward, and because they had the three up front and the wing-backs overlapping, they were doubling up on Borges, doubling up on Dijksteel, creating them 2v1s and allowing basically them to have the freedom of the wings and put balls into the box time and time again. Borges wasn't getting much help from Bergzorg. Dijksteel wasn't getting barely any from Morgan Whittaker. And there were times in that first half where Travers had to make some decent saves. Nothing world class until the very end of the half. But at the other end, Boro didn't offer anything, really. We had a few half chances. We got forward a few times. Bergzorg had a shot from outside the box which was saved. Didn't really test their goalkeeper all that much. Everything we were doing was in front of their defenders. We had nothing in behind, really. We weren't stretching them all that much. That's why I really miss Dork and Lath, because Lath would make them pacey runs in behind. He'd run the channels. He'd stretch their centre halves. Dork would run in behind, offer us width. But now you've got Conway, who's slightly different. Iheanacho, who is very immobile, and Whittaker, who wants to constantly come inside. So without that width and pace, everything Boro do is just in front of the defence, whoever we're playing against, and it made it very, very easy for Bristol City in the first half. But despite them having the better of the first half an hour, Boro actually found themselves in the lead. And this felt very much like the Sheffield United game, where we went into half-time very lucky to be in the position we were in. In that game, I think we went in level with the Bergzorg penalty after we were by far the second best side in the first half at Bramall Lane. And it was the same here. We were by far the second best side. By the end of the first half, Bristol City had utterly taken control, but one breakaway got Boro in front. Iheanacho and Whittaker linked up on the right-hand side. Whittaker did well to scramble the ball out from the floor, playing in Iheanacho, who ran down the right. One of the very few times we got him behind. That's the point I'm making. We didn't do it enough. Iheanacho cuts onto his left foot, takes a shot that's saved. Tommy Conway is there at the back post. Poacher's instinct up against his former club to head it in to an empty net. And you think the script's written. You think the script is written, and Boro are going to find a way of winning in the game where, the biggest game of Michael Carricks' career, where we needed a win, and it was going to be delivered by Tommy Conway, returning to haunt his former team. And you go in at half-time exactly like we did against Sheffield United, feeling very fortunate, very lucky to be in the position we were in. And like against Sheffield United, you're hoping we can draw a line under the first half performance, come out second half and get something from the game. That is not what happened. Also, before the end of the first half, Boro did get very, very fortunate. Scott Twine missed an absolute sitter after a great reaction save from short range from Mark Travers, who, as I say, did so well to keep us in the game. He must be wondering what he's walked into, Mark Travers. He must be looking at the defence in front of him and thinking, what on earth have I walked into? So Bristol City should have been at least level, maybe ahead, going into the second half. And then the second half happened, and it was just another example of Boro's inability to manage a game, see it out, and another huge example that this manager doesn't have a clue when it comes to making the right changes, managing a game, seeing it out, shoring us up. We're just both tactically inept from the sidelines in terms of knowing when to make changes and how to ensure that we find a way to win, but we're also weak as piss on the pitch as well. This isn't an overnight thing. This is something we've seen time and time again from this Borough side this season. I could go on, game after game after game, of how many times this season, when in good positions, we've been unable to hang on to points, manage games, and we've thrown them away time and time again. Sometimes it's individual errors, sometimes it's poor in-game management, and it was pretty much that in the second half. It was obvious for so long in that second half that Borough, both the players on the pitch, their legs had gone. We looked so leggy, so lethargic, and it was just utter dominance in that second half. Bristol City had us pinned in that defensive half. We had no out ball at all. We had no one we could throw the ball up to who could hold it up, no one who could run in behind. The ball just kept going back to Bristol City. We were making stupid decisions in possession, and we also made some stupid challenges as well because, well, we conceded on the 72nd minute and it was coming. As I say, Bristol City, utterly dominant. Borough offered nothing at all in the second half. It was a matter of when and not if Bristol City got themselves back into the game. The ball come down Borough's right-hand side. It was crossed over across the box. Dijksteel, who had a pretty poor game, got caught between going for it or staying with his man. He committed to the ball, completely missed it. That allowed for a free cross to come back across Borough's box, and Earthy had a tap-in from short range. They were at threat of doing that time and time again throughout the game. I've lost count of how many times they put balls into Borough's box with ease, low balls into good areas, cutbacks, shots were getting blocked. I think Rav made a handful of really good blocks. Travers made a handful of really good saves. So this was something that was happening all game long, and Borough had gotten away with it on numerous occasions, but we didn't get away with it here, and it went one each with 72 minutes on the clock. And I think it tells you a lot about Borough and their character and what we know of them and what we expect of them, that once it went 1-1, you knew we were going to lose the game. There was just no chance in hell this Borough side were going to be able to pick themselves up, go again, and go and get the winner. No chance at all, because we've seen it so often when this team is under a tiny little tinty bit of pressure. They fall like a deck chair, they collapse in embarrassing fashion, and that's what happened because we were an absolute mess. We were all at sea after that. No organisation, no game management, nothing from the manager on the touchline. By this point, by the way, Bristol City had made 4 substitutions. They made a substitution on the 69th minute, I think 3 on the 63rd minute, and another on the 69th minute. So their manager was proactive. 3 minutes after he made his changes, they go and score an equaliser, and Borough did not make a single change until after we'd gone 2-1 down. We didn't make a single change, and it was clear to see all of our players were absolutely on their arse. They were struggling, their legs had gone, especially up front, and I don't care what your options are on the bench, you have to recognise, surely, if you're Michael Carricks, that your team have been under it for about 35-40 minutes. And it's just wave after wave. It's wave after wave. The inevitable is clearly coming, and you need to do something to help your side. Whether it's put someone up top who, as I say, can be an out ball, get us up the pitch, hold the ball up, or stick an extra defender on, go 3 at the back. Luke Ayling's on the bench. Go 5 at the back just to defend your box and say, right, yep, they've got an equaliser. We need to shore it up. Let's come away from here with a point. But nothing from the touch, nothing at all. And what does he do? When we're 2-1 down, brings on Finn Azaz. Well, it's too bloody late now because the game has gone. And for 20-25 minutes prior, it was obvious that we were just getting absolutely battered. And he did nothing whatsoever to stem that tide, halt their momentum. It was almost like we were just sat there waiting to be beat. It's truly unacceptable, and well, am I surprised? No, not particularly surprised to see this lack of in-game management and tactical nous from this manager, because it's been our downfall on far too many occasions. And as I say, on the 82nd minute, Bristol City finally got their deserved winner. And this came after a round of shocking decisions once again from Boro, because bearing in mind, you're going up against one of the best set-piece takers in the Championship. I mentioned in my preview, Scott Twine's one of the best dead ball specialists in the league. So what do Boro do when they're one each and they're under the cosh and potentially looking and staring a defeat in the face? We give him 2 free kicks in shooting range in a matter of moments. The first is a poor, really stupid tackle from Hayden Hackney. We get away with that one, but we then go and give him another chance a few minutes later, even closer to the box this time, and he makes no mistake whatsoever. Gets it on target, almost. I think it actually hit the bar. I don't think it was saved by Travers. We gave him a second bite at the cherry. He hits the woodwork, and out of all, I think, 9 or 10 Boro players in the picture, not one of them anticipates the ball rebounding off the crossbar. Not one of them reacts. They're stood there like absolute statues, and 2 Bristol City players emerge onside. Earthy's one, and he has a tap in to an empty net, and it's another abysmal goal to concede by Boro. And we had it coming. Not only was our in-game management poor, the lack of substitutes, the fact we were just waiting to be beaten, letting them attack us time and time again. We give them 2 free kicks in really good areas and then don't react when they get one off the crossbar. It's just extremely poor all round once again. And after that, there was no doubt that Bristol City were going to easily see out the victory. And that is that. So what the hell do you say at this point? What even is there left to say? I mean, I'm not surprised, because we've seen this time and time again. This Boro side are just so weak. They're spineless. They've got no character or mentality or resilience whatsoever. And under this manager at the moment, this whole package, this team, this manager, it's done. It's done. It is absolutely done. You know, you think, and it gives you I feel stupid for giving myself a glimmer of hope after they backed him against, you know, on Monday after the Watford game, they backed him, and it made me think, okay, maybe this has gave, I don't know, sometimes when you're at the very end of your tether, you're as low as you can be, it can ignite a togetherness, it can ignite something. And maybe within the fan base, maybe within the coaching team and at Rockcliffe and with the players, it could spark some life with Steve Gibson backing Michael Carricks. And you think, if there's ever a chance of a rocket being lit under his arse and the team's, it would be now. And you'd see something. But it was just more of the same. And if there can't be a reaction, if there can't be a sign of a turnaround, a sign of fight, a sign of an improvement from the touchline or from the team as a whole after what's just happened in the last week, it's never going to come, in my opinion. We just look finished. The team looks finished. The manager looked lost at the weekend and out of ideas. This even looks, well, again, he looked lost and out of ideas again. Here, he just doesn't have the answers. His race is well and truly run. And there are other reasons for it. You could look into the players he's lost. I mentioned Doak and Lath, huge misses. The players he's brought in, who haven't hit the ground running. There's other factors. You could dissect this whole thing until the cows come home, to be honest with you, and that would be something we would dissect after the matter of fact when he maybe is given the boot. But as it stands currently, you either make a change now to give our season a chance, or you end it. Because, well, can we go through another 13 games of this? I don't even want to imagine, to be honest with you. So yeah, a game which was must win. Saturday was must win. We lost. Tonight was a must win. We lost that as well. So let's look at the stats then. As you can see, Boro were outplayed in most areas. Bristol City's dominance, as you can see, with the amount of the ball they had. Number of shots they had as well. 21 shots on Boro's goal, what they had. Just again, so open and easy to create chances against. 7 on target they had. 2 big chances. XG, far superior to ours. The XG pretty much matches exactly what sort of game it was. We had a few shots on target. A lot of them were speculative ones from quite far out. And moving quickly on to Boro's performances. To be honest with you, I don't even want to dwell on any of the performances, to be honest with you. I'll give credit to Mark Travers. I thought he kept us in the game at times, and as I say, like Sheffield United and Sunderland and many other games recently, if it wasn't for him, the game would have been so ugly, far uglier than what it was in the end. I thought that the centre-backs did all they could, really. I thought Fry was pretty good at times. Rav made some crucial blocks. Borges, I think, did pretty well. I thought he had one of his better games going forward and did well defensively, but Dyke still had an absolute shocker on the other side. It again came down to the fact that Borough's fullbacks had no support. Balls were going into the box continually. Whittaker and Bergsorg were all right going forward, but didn't do that much going backwards. And I said, didn't I, in my preview, midfield battle would be huge when you're going up against Knight and Bird, and Hackney and Morris lost the midfield battle tonight. You know, passing, they were all right, but they were loose on possession. They pressed harder, they were sharper. They won the midfield battle, which was crucial. And up front, because we have nothing going forward at the moment, there wasn't much, really. I thought Iheanacho's link-up play was better, I would say, than what it has been, but he still looks absolutely gassed after 55, 60 minutes. And Conway took his goal well. I thought he, put a decent shift in, but given Borough's creative attacking issues, didn't really have much to go at other than that. And we finished by looking at the league table, because that moves Bristol City up into the playoffs in 6th. Borough now are 11th and, 5 points off the playoffs as it stands. Tomorrow, we might find ourselves, we could be as low as 15th. That is the brutal reality. Now, I don't think we will be. Norwich have Stoke at home, so you fancy Norwich to pick up at least a point there, so they'll jump us. QPR have Pompey away. That's probably going to be a tough game for them. Millwall are at Derby, so will they win there? Not sure. So, and even Preston, who are 15th, are within touching distance. They have got Coventry, though, albeit they're a bogey team for Cov. I'd be shocked if they got a result. So, we are within touching distance of 15th place. And we are almost just as close to Bristol City in 6th as we are Oxford in 16th. It is truly dreadful. It is so far off. It is not good enough. With the team we have, it's disgraceful, if I'm brutally honest. And we were looking at Tuesday night, looking at Stoke and thinking, right, that's our game in hand. That's why they've kept him on. That's why they've gave him a chance, because that game in hand is like a free golden ticket for Carrick to, if he wins it, could get us right back in the mix. But even with that game in hand, might get us within 2 points of Bristol City. As it stands, that's not considering whether West Brom win tomorrow, or Coventry win tomorrow, or Watford win on Sunday. So what's the best that game in hand could do for us by the time we play on Tuesday? Might get us within, 3, 4, maybe even 5 points by then. We are too far off now, and there is no sign that this team are going to magically U-turn and close that gap with so many teams who could be between us and the top 6. So for me, it's simple. Steve Gibson has gave Michael Carrick an extra life, and he's absolutely pissed it up the wall. He's bottled it. And for me, it's as simple as this. That game in hand now might make things look a bit better, but do we really look like winning at Stoke? We don't look like winning anywhere. So for me, he either makes a change and just does something to reignite a flame, a spark in Borough's season. Otherwise, currently, we are on a one-way ticket to a mid-table finish, which would be unbelievably disappointing. Or, we may as well write the season off. I know people keep saying there's this many games to go, there's that many games to go, but let's be honest, in Borough's form, I think people were saying this week, with the average number of points that teams normally need to get playoffs, granted, this year you're probably likely going to need less than the normal average, Borough were looking to maybe need 8 wins from 14 to be sure of getting in there. That's if teams above us pick up. But out of the last 13 games, with the standard, 6 wins from 13 maybe? Maybe 7 to be sure. We don't look like that getting anywhere near that. So, Gibson, you've gave him a chance, but he's done nothing to prove to you that that chance was warranted. So for me, I think he might get Tuesday because of the turnaround, but unless something truly miraculous happens there, his race is as good as run. And tonight just put another nail in Michael Carricks' coffin. So let me know your thoughts, guys, on this performance and result. And as always, if you've enjoyed the video, do hit a like on the video and subscribe. If you're watching here on YouTube, we preview and review every Borough game here on the channel. And I'll be back on Sunday or Monday to preview the Stoke game, as always. And if anything does happen between now and then, I obviously cover all Borough news here on the YouTube channel as well. And if you're happening to be listening over on your chosen podcast provider, to which you can do via links in the description, give me a like, a rating and a follow over on your chosen podcast provider. It takes 2 seconds and I'd really appreciate your support over there. But until next time, guys, do take care. And Borough have lost again. What a shock. I'll see you all in the next one.